Welcome back to Hey Kentucky. Last night we aired my interview with the state's new Attorney General as he shared key pieces of his agenda. Tonight the conversation with Daniel Cameron turns to what his election to office means on a personal level. It's not a secret the type of historical significance that your election to this office has. Have you heard from young African American men or women about what it maybe means to them to see a reflection of themselves in such an office?
I had some in my office yesterday. There were some folks that looked like me that were in my office yesterday, and we're coming up on Black History Month, and there'll be some opportunities for me during the month to speak to some folks about sort of my career path and how I ended up in this spot. But look, what I've said, and you've probably heard me say this countless occasions, that is that really, and I don't shrink away from the historic nature of this, of the election and my opportunity to be the 51st Attorney General. I think we are living out what Martin Luther King talked about. We are living proof of his hope that, folks here would not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. And I hope my election demonstrated that that's how Kentuckians view their statewide elected officers. They don't care what your color is. They just want to know what your values are. Perhaps there was a kid in that room yesterday, or perhaps somebody sees me as I'm traveling throughout the Commonwealth and says, you know what, I want to be the 63rd Attorney General of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, or I want to be not only the Attorney General, I want to be the State Auditor, or I want to be the Treasurer, or the Ag Commissioner, or the Governor, Lieutenant Governor. I hope that's what this election demonstrated more than anything else, is that there's opportunity here in Kentucky, and people just want to know what your heart is and what your values are.
Best piece of advice that you've gotten since being elected?
Hire good people. Hire good people that reflect your values, and make sure that you bring in some of the sharpest people that you possibly can. And so I've endeavored to do that in a position like this or any other. I think most people would agree that it's the team that makes the office.
When you take your Attorney General hat off, and I know it doesn't necessarily come off very often, but what do you like to do when you have free time?
I like to work out. I like to read. David McCullough, of course, several years ago wrote this book, 1776, and so I'm currently reading that. Just finished a book by Doris Kearns Goodwin called Leadership, where she talks about four different leaders: Theodore Roosevelt, Franklin Roosevelt, and Lyndon Johnson, and sort of goes through their careers and how they saw their leadership and how it matured and developed over the course of their not only their time in the White House, but also prior to their time in the White House, and what obstacles they faced. And so anyways, long way of saying I love to read and love to work out and try to do a little cooking from time to time. I'm not very good at it.
What's your specialty?
Well, I like to cook fettuccine Alfredo, and I make my own cream sauce. But again, there are people much more talented than I am that can do that stuff. So. And
real quick,
of course,
who wins the Super Bowl and why?
Oh man, that's a good question. I don't.
Listen, they're not watching.
No
one in Kansas City or San Francisco is watching, be honest. Who do you think it's going to be?
Patrick Mahomes is a dynamic quarterback. But I've noticed in the last two playoff games the Chiefs have been in that they've started slow. And I think even Andy Reid mentioned the fact that they've been starting slow and that they need to start fast against the 49ers. So assuming that they can get off on a good foot and not be down 24-0 like they were against the Texans, I'm going to give the advantage to the Chiefs.
And will you be watching?
I definitely will be watching and
Okay.
eating chicken wings.
There you
So.
go. Maybe some Alfredo sauce for dipping.
Well, I don't, that'll be a little. That's a little different, but maybe some ranch at least.
There
that,
you go.
yeah.
There you go. He's a wings traditionalist. What can you say? Just buffalo sauce and ranch. All right, still ahead on Hey Kentucky. Game a big deal, no deal. Don't go away.